Okay, 2010 Subaru Forester. This has been installed, but there's no power to it. They don't have a plug on the back of the car to fit the standard RV style trailer plug. So we'll install a RV style trailer plug with just the power and ground source just for this. There's no other electrical to it other than that. So we'll put a plug. I've already started running some cable. We'll put a plug here. Cable goes underneath the car, and I'll go back to the front of the car and finalize hooking it up in the front, and then we'll come back here and finish hooking it up back here. So I ran this cable underneath the car with some clamps to hold it tight in place. And now we're going to run it up here to a circuit breaker up here near the battery, and I'll run it here. I'll have to trim the wires up a little bit. I'll install a circuit breaker somewhere around here where it's easy access to hook the power source up to. I'll hook the ground up here as well, and then a power source straight from the battery to the circuit breaker. We'll hook it up right to that stud on the battery to the circuit breaker. Okay, I look for a place to locate it. Here, this is dual wall. It's pretty thick material, plus the spring is right below it for the strut. I tried here, but it's too round, so if I tried to tighten it up, it would break the circuit breaker when it tightens up. And it's pretty thick material there too, along with the spring being behind there. I thought here, but it's just through the plastic only. It would work if I zip tied it, but that's just not too professional. So I ended up deciding I'm going to put it up here on the side of this radiator support, the upper radiator support here. I'll put it on the side. Sheet metal screw right through there. Unfortunately, I made the cable long enough it will reach, and I'll route that nicely around the battery box, fuse box, around the battery box, underneath here, and it'll eventually go to there, and I'll put a ground up here as well. Get to a flat surface, and the copper stud is the terminal the battery terminal goes to from the battery to the circuit breaker, so we'll put that farther away from the cable. That way this cable can reach right there easier. Screw it in a little further. Right there. And I already checked, there's nothing behind there either. Woo! I'll do it by hand. Perfect. Okay. Perfect. Cable that I have is jacketed 12 gauge wire. It's called brake cable wire. It's usually used in trailer brake applications where you have a power source for the charge wire, and then usually it's blue for the trailer brakes. So both will run from the front to the rear of the vehicle. The black one is my power, so I'm going to hook up a red shrink tube to this terminal. Black one is power because for the trailer tow plug back there, black is the power source, so we'll just keep that power. White's the ground in the back for the trailer plug, so we'll just keep it the same. So this crimper I'm using is a Delphi crimper. It's a ratcheting style for these terminals, bare non-insulated terminals such as this, and you can see it makes a really nice crimp on there. It's not coming apart, it's permanent. It's not going to slip out. and non-insulated terminal. Now I put the shrink tube on. Now it's insulated. I'll heat that up with the heat gun after I do the other side. Now I use the black shrink tube on that side. Put the terminal in there. Put it on the wire. And it's not coming apart. And it's never going to break connection there. I'll put that on there and heat those up. Now I use a heat gun. Looks like a glorified hair dryer. That's what it is, but it's extremely hot. And it heats up the shrink tubing in no time. And then we'll route this cable in a way that it looks nice and is not in the way of any other components. And go under there. Like that, and we'll hook up the power right to there. Which is the power to the rear. Not power from the battery, but power to the rear. Goes on these particular circuit breakers that I have. It's 50 amp. And they're two different color studs. They're not all like that. As long as you have a circuit breaker, some kind of protection between inline, that's what you need. And then I'll probably just end up hooking the ground up, something like there. If I can get to the side, I'll do that. But like I said, once again, there's nothing behind there to damage. Okay, so these terminals that I have, these non-insulated terminals to fit the bigger wire, I had the sizes I have are either too small, they were too small, or they were big, way too big. So to make it just right, I did cut this to make a gap there so it fits very snug on there. So that's why it's like that. I cut this one. I didn't realize I didn't have to because this will be the ground. I'm just going to put a screw in there and that's going to work. So because I already cut it, I'm still going to use it. And I'll do this one by hand as well so I don't, it's really easy to over tighten them and strip them. Now we can zip tie this up and go to the back. I have here an old belt, old serpentine drive belt off a vehicle. Making a permanent strap for this vehicle for the cables. And I'll bend this. Very hard to work with, but it works. And I'll drill through there. And I'll try to drill through there. And I'll run the cable through there, and I have my cable clamp. Okay, I'm gonna put it up here like this, and I'll run it through there like that. As you can see, it just became my cable clamp. Hole started to go there. I'll just do the 1/8 inch drill bit and go through there. I have the pilot hole drilled. I'll go through this, get it through the rubber first here. Right about there. And I'll pull the cable fairly snug right there. Tighten it up. Cable doesn't move. I already have one installed here. I'll pull that snug. There's one installed here. I'll pull this snug. And I don't think I'll need another one here. Wouldn't hurt to put one there. We'll see before I get done with this job if I go back and put one there. But as you can see, these clamps are pretty permanent. The only thing to happen is these might rust out. But that's the worst case. Other than that, the rubber's going to be permanent. The cable's not going to go anywhere. And then we'll work our way to the back. Okay, so this is the cable coming to the back here. I already routed it underneath the car all the way, zip tied it up. But now we need to put a plug on the back of the Subaru. And if I put it like here, it's obviously way too low. If I put it here, it's just into this flimsy plastic. It could work, but not to my likings. But I have this bracket here. I got it from E-Trailer, and it's for mounting on these hitches. So you put it up there like this. I'll put the hose clamp around it through the hole that's in the bracket and around the whole thing. That'll hold it in place, and then I can position it wherever I want. And then this bracket will bolt right to there. So it'll be a solid, very solid mount right there. And that's where we're going to head with this. Just like that. Then we can put a plug in there. Okay, we'll put this here. And the wires are already run, so we got to hook those wires up to this plug in the right area. Normally I'd have to run the wires through there, put the housing on, and then put the terminal on. But right now I could, because there's a slit in this bracket right there, the wires will fit through. So I'm going to go ahead and just hook it up out here. Okay, I got this housing the wires run through the housing. Now I'm going to strip the wires down so I can hook the wires up to the connector terminal that's inside it. So we have black is power, white is ground. And then on this piece that goes inside there, it's marked on the back side black, white, and the colors are going to be the same, black and white. So hook up black first. And the white's 180 off of that. Hook up the white one there. White. Make sure this one's tight still. Black. And then we'll push this in. It only goes in one way. It has a of course I can't see it. Somewhere around here it has this. Oh, it's right on the bottom there. The bottom is where it is. It pushes in all the way. And a couple of screws on the side to lock it in place. And then these screws just go in. That locks the guts right inside of it so they can't come out. Now you got just the hardware to bolt this bracket or the plug into the bracket. Okay, now for the main power wire that goes from the battery to the circuit breaker. I'm going to put one, same thing, crimp a terminal on there that'll go to the top stud on this battery. I'll take that nut off and put it there, and then we'll run it here to the circuit breaker. Okay, we'll hook it up to the circuit breaker first. That way there's no loose ends that could short out. Just like that. Snug fit because I cut it, and that's all I did. I didn't open it up after I cut it, I just cut it. And then I'll run the wire and tighten this up. And then loosen it up with the battery. Come up through there like the original wires do. Come up through there. that's it. And the wire's just long enough to reach there. It's not, even if it rubs on there, that's not metal, so it's not going to short out anywhere. Obviously on the rubber hose there, still not metal, it's not going to short out. And I guess that's as good as it snaps down, is like that, as it pops back up. And we're done. We'll plug it in and make sure everything works. And then we'll try it and just make sure everything works. It goes up and it goes down. That's what we're looking for.